The Church recognizes 4 types of extraordinary demonic activity: infestation, the presence of evil in a location or associated with an object. The devil and his demons can torment humans indirectly, for example, by unexplained noises. These include footsteps, the clattering of chains, mysterious voices and shouts, laughter, bells, the disappearance of objects that reappear in another location, pictures falling off the walls, furniture moving, and clothing, sheets, blankets, and chairs levitating in the air. Vexation, the action by the devil and demons aimed at attacking and harassing humans physically through cuts and burns and scrapes, stings, bites and bruises and swellings, bleeding sores, fractures of bones, incisions of letters in the skin, using words or signs that persist for a time and then disappear. I prefer the term vexation as opposed to oppression. Why? Because I believe that oppression is a gift from God. Just imagine that, if you will. One is being tormented by the devil, and it's actually a gift from God. There are many great examples that we can think of. Job out of the Old Testament. If you know the story of Job, God permitted Satan to afflict him. Job had not done anything wrong. Even he pours his heart out to God, and he tries to understand why he's being afflicted by the devil. And his wife even says to him, "Curse God and die." But it's Job who puts on sackcloth. He sits in ashes. He beats his breast and he says, "The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Meaning, if things be good, I glorify God. If things be bad, I glorify God. My personal situation absolutely means nothing when it comes to God's rightful place in my life. We can also think of St. Paul, who suffered from oppression. He speaks of the thorn in his flesh, a messenger from Satan who was sent to torment him to keep him from becoming proud. And one of my favorite examples out of recent history, St. Padre Pio. Padre Pio experienced demonic affliction throughout his life. And what's interesting about what Padre Pio went through is that he used to refer to the devil as Old Bluebeard. And one night he writes that he was sleeping. He heard a disturbance in his room. It woke him up. He looked in the corner of his room and he saw the devil. And he looked at the devil and said, "It's only you, Old Bluebeard. I thought it was somebody important." And then he rolled over and went back to sleep. Imagine, if you will, that we could have that same level of faith and conviction in the power of God over the power of the devil. The third type of extraordinary demonic activity is demonic obsession, the action by the devil and demons aimed at attacking humans mentally by influencing a person's external and internal senses. On the external senses, a demon will impact a person's vision with apparitions intended to terrify or enticing visions intended to distract someone from the practice of virtue. On a person's hearing, through noises so as to disturb, with words or chants that are obscene and blasphemous. On the internal senses, the imagination and memory are filled with thoughts, ideas, or images that are ridiculous, but such that the person is unable to reject them, and despite the emphatic warning that they are foreign to the person, he or she comes to see them as really their own. Obsessions can be of different forms and of different degrees of intensity, and they can reach the point of fully dominating the mind of the person. They often cause the person to believe they are losing their mind. The person becomes more and more depressed, sad, desperate, and drained. It must be said that in the field of demonic obsession, it is one of the most difficult to assess. And then we have demonic possession itself, the action by the devil and demons to take control of a person's body, during which the person feels powerless to act, and their actions are defined wholly by the evil spirits. The evil spirits will move a person's tongue to get them to speak, their feet to make them walk, their hands to make them write, attack, or offer obscene gestures. Those who suffer from demonic possession may lose all or part of their consciousness as to what is taking place. Any priest should be able to address cases of infestation, vexation, and obsession by praying in the location or praying with and for the person troubled physically or mentally by evil. Cases that deal with demonic possession should be referred to the local bishop or the priest authorized to investigate these situations. The tradition of the Church has maintained 4 criteria in evaluating the validity of cases of demonic possession. The criteria are the ability to speak and understand languages otherwise unknown to the individual, exhibiting extraordinary strength beyond the normal ability of the individual, having elevated perception with knowledge beyond natural power. In other words, information otherwise unknown to the individual. And finally, perhaps the one that we're most familiar with, a strong resistance against anything of a sacred nature, having the Bible read in front of them, being in a sacred place, being shown a crucifix, being blessed with holy water, having a relic laid on their head as a prayer is said, and so on. It's also possible to know that an evil spirit is present when symptoms of the demonic are observed. These include bodily contortions, and the unclean spirit convulsing him and crying with a loud voice came out of him. Mark's Gospel, chapter 1, verse 26. There can be a change in the voice, crying out and bruising himself with stones. We see that in Mark's Gospel, chapter 5, verse 5. There can be a change in physical appearance, such as foaming at the mouth, eyes rolled in the back of the head. There can be unpleasant odors, a change in the temperature of the room, laughing and uncontrollable hysteria, hissing and the resemblance of the movement of a snake, and on rare occasions, even levitation. All of these can be indications of demonic possession. But before proceeding with the rite of exorcism, there is a 7-step protocol that must be followed. The exorcist in many ways is trained to be a skeptic. I must exhaust every other possible explanation for what is taking place in the life of the person before labeling them as being possessed. Moral certitude must be arrived at because the church could cause greater harm if it labels the person as being possessed, and that label prevents the person from getting the true help that they need.